Welcome to OWAD Today. I'm Sophia, pilot into the Universe of Chinese. Today's poem, a famous one for every grade school students, they have to recite and kind of start from this because it's quite vivid image and it's educational. It's about save your food, appreciate your food, and describes starting from this farming scene, 锄禾日当午, when you're hoeing the crop, when it's noontime, when the moon and when the sun is moving equal to the moon time. So 日当午 means it's noontime. You're doing this farming thing. And 汗滴禾下土, your sweat is going to drip under the crop. And that gives you this vivid image of how hard it used to be. I'm not sure like contemporary if farming was still labor intensive, but this was the imagery of appreciating the hard work that went into farming. And okay, one by one, 锄. 锄 is made of the metal symbol on the left side because hoe as a farming tool was made of metal, right? Then the right side is the rake, the farming itself. In the middle, it means ancestor plaque or the wooden block that put on the table because Chinese is an ancestor worshiping culture. Instead of praying to God, we pray to ancestors. And this ancestor with a farming together means you are pitching in your share of efforts to continuation of your lineage to add glory to your ancestor. So instead of, almost like comparable to worshiping as a religion, you want to know what the path to take, right? The God guides you. So it's the ancestor in Chinese context will be the ancestor provide you, guide you, protect you, and you want to carry out the work that the ancestors have in mind for you. So the whole thing transferable to the ancestor worship as well. Okay, so we have working, continuing under the ancestors' guidance. That means support to have your share of efforts in there. And then the left side is the metal symbol made of the triangle shape means gathering. And then the bottom shows the ground level. The first line is ground level. The second horizontal line is indicator of it's underground. And then we have this vertical thing, supposedly something growing in there. And then we have this two like nuggets, like separated pieces underground that shows something buried underground. And it's a gathering of them. And that's Chinese symbol of metal. Probably that's how the metal was discovered as a cluster or gathering of this useful material underground for humans to use, right? So metal, made of metal, and the purpose is to support as a farming activity to continue your ancestors' will. I guess as an agrarian society, probably ancestors will you to be a good farmer. Okay. 禾, we have this upturning, downward turning. So the canopy of the tree, root of the tree connect the trunk of the tree with a tilted top. And that tilted top is what humans feed off. That's the crop. That's the grain where things are going to draping down. It gets heavier. So that symbolizes food source. And that's our crop. So you hold the crop, meaning you loosen the soil around it. 日当午, that's the timing when you're doing it. You'll still do it when the sun is already equal to the moon. So the sun symbol is a sphere with horizontal line. That's energetic ball. Chinese define the sun. And equal have this farm field, which is a space, a circular thing means the space. You quarter it to mean you lot the space or the land into smaller lots to individual households. So that's a Chinese farm field. And in the middle, you have the mouse symbol that going upward, separating things. That means you are distinguishing something from something else, right? You're separating it. And once you verbalize that, that means you recognize that and you appreciate that. So the top is a shang, pronounced as shang. It means you appreciate something or you admire, you value something. You value the farm field. You can regard it as ancient time, a farm field appraisal. And then some appraiser came over, say, okay, this lot of land is equal to the other lot of land. And that's how equal this 当 came into being. Okay, 锄禾日当午. 午, this character, horizontal line is the land. And then this curvature line on top, you can almost view it as trajectory of the sun going through the sky throughout the day. Just like on our app, when we're tracking the weather, there is the sun location tracker throughout the day, right? And when it's noon, which is this vertical line, it's kind of, you mark the time at that point, and that's the location of the sun in the sky, the peak point, and that's the marker for noontime. I'm amazed that ancient language creator would kind of think it in the same terms or describe it in the same way as a contemporary app that tracking the movement of the sun throughout the day. But that's my interpretation. I think that's an easily relatable way to define how to define the noon, which is the peak point of the sun above the ground, right? 锄禾日当午 gives you the setting during noontime, the activity. You're farming, you're loosening the crops, the soil around the crops. And as a result, 汗滴禾下土. Okay, 汗, we have both 汗 and 滴 have the water sign on the left side. And the 汗 is defined by dry symbol. So this is dry symbol, almost you can view it as a downward pointing thing, pointing toward the ground level, I guess. This 干 means dry, and there were connections to the, I guess, ancient understanding of the space. We are standing on the ground earth, but then visibly, we know we're living under the sky, something above us, that space, visual space above us. And Chinese use 天干, means the space, the sky, pair that with this 干 to mean that's the outer space or the beginning of the space before we have the earth, the ground here. And I made the connection of this dry character from this sky, like why the sky is dry. Did the ancient language creators observe that? And it turned out the higher elevation, the drier it gets. So I guess this biosphere is most humid near Earth. When it gets higher elevation, evaporation is more, and then you get drier and drier. So when this sky or related to heaven connected with this character, and that character inferred to mean the dryness of the air, the dry of the water. Okay, that means sweat. I guess this is ancient times that people observe that the sweat eventually got dried up on your skin. And before knowing all that transformation between water and air and gas, right? How evaporation works, that's the early observation. So when the water dried up, and that water behavior is used to describe the sweat. We have a high pitch sound on the right side. And when you think about the dripping, this water drip drop water hitting the ground, it normally makes a pretty high pitch sound because it's a small volume of liquid. got splashed, and then it's a higher pitch sound. So I'm guessing this high pitch sound of water to mean drip came from this audio character of what drip of water sound like. And this high pitch thing was made of this flower. So over here, people say it's a flower thing. It's describing the connection between a flower to its stem. So it's I guess the reproductive organ of a flower. And it's, again, there's two horizontal lines. You can view it as heaven and earth. So it has this spatial sense and the specific location of the flower. And together, paired with the mouth symbol to mean it's, I guess, in ancient times when florally speaking, probably that's how people think that's a higher pitch speaking. So basically, sweet talk is higher pitch talk, which you can kind of observe through baby talk. When you talk to babies, you tend to raise your pitch to make it sound less threatening, more caring, probably. So this floral speaking, that's related to higher pitch speaking, and higher pitch water speaking is the dripping sound. Okay, crop again, and 下 horizontal line is the earth or heaven, and then we have this below, this downward pointer to mean it's under this heaven. Or we can view this horizontal line simply as a benchmark. So that's a starting point we're talking about. And then we have the vertical line is below it. And 土, you can see two horizontal lines with one vertical line. I mean, these, they look kind of abstract, right? But once I explain to you what this horizontal line means and vertical line means, it probably makes more sense now. This horizontal line means earth, and vertical line means something growing in earth. Second horizontal line is an indicator to mean it's surrounding the growing thing. And that's the soil, because soil is the surrounding environment for the plant to grow. And without specifying what kind of a plant that is, it's just simply give you the structure of this ground and something growing in there. And that's our soil symbol. Very abstract, but I think it's very logical. Okay, so the whole poem, 锄禾日当午，汗滴禾下土, describe the ancient farming activity, and probably toiling is the closest English word to describe how pains, like a back-breaking, that activity is. You have to work out throughout the day, I guess, even when the sun is right there in noontime, and you're still doing your 锄, this loosening the soil activity, and then you keep sweating to make that high pitch sweat dropping sound, and it's almost like the crop you're growing is really raised on your sweat, and that's how labor intensive that picture paints us, and that's when the second stanza of the poem came in. That's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. Okay, thank you for your time. See you next.